Oh, I think we've lost Adam.
Yeah, we've lost him.
Apologies for that.
We had a good chat on there. Well, making sure that girls get an education is not only an issue in Pakistan, of course, but also in neighbouring Afghanistan.
Well, there's now Dr. Sarah Fane, who is Chief Executive and founder of the Afghan Connection, which funds and supports schools in the country. And she's just back from Afghanistan. Obviously, Malala K is very troubling about the situation in Pakistan. We've had similar reports from Afghanistan of Taliban opposing education for girls there.
Yes. Only when you go to Afghanistan, things are changing. I was there under the Taliban as a doctor 10 years ago, and then there really was so little hope. But 10 years on, huge things have happened, and there are now over 10 million children in school. Back then, there were just 1 million in school, and only 5,000 of them were girls.
And your charity is establishing schools in what, remote areas?
We've built schools all over Afghanistan, but more recently we've decided to localise in one area so that we can put all our efforts into that particular region. And we've seen a huge difference because there's not a single woman of my age who can read or write. And now every single child in that valley is going to school.
You've just returned from Afghanistan, as you say. You made a video diary when you were out there. Let's take a quick look at it.
Because I saw them all studying outside and they had such a desire to learn, they touched me very much. And so I went back home and everybody, my friends here, have helped me to pay for the school.
Thank you for waiting out for me today, for waiting such a long time. And I'll keep coming back to visit you every year.
You say that things are better now in Afghanistan than they were 10 years ago. What do you think has been the key to changing public attitudes towards female education there?
I think it's a very slow process, but I think that it's really important that we go gradually and then we invest in the future. It's going to take many generations before all children are going to be able to go to school freely in Afghanistan. But that is going to be the greatest legacy we can leave there. Because the more children we can educate, the more they will want to run their own country. If I go into a classroom in Afghanistan and ask what the children want to do, they'll say they want to be doctors, teachers, and above all, they want to be able to serve their country and take their own future into their own hands.
And do you feel that the Afghan government, after the withdrawal of ISAF, will want to go ahead with this programme? Because, you know, we have seen examples, for example, of some of the schools that have been paid for by British or American money actually being destroyed, haven't we?
I've just had an interview with the Minister of Education in Afghanistan, and I can see no more passionate supporter of girls' education. He's very, very excited about the future. He's determined to get all children, girls and boys, into education by 2014. And I think that it's not just him, but actually it's those children that are receiving this education. There's no way that they're going to allow this wonderful sort of movement to stop. Their parents have invested in them going to school, and they're going to invest in their own children going to school. And I don't think the Taliban or any other hardline force is going to be able to stop that now.
Isn't there a sense, though, that the schools are succeeding because the Taliban is, in a sense, supporting them? They're perhaps more aware of the economic impact of women in the country than they perhaps were 15, 20 years ago. Some will say, is this a way of the Taliban keeping an eye on the women almost? They're being educated in a certain way, aren't they?
I think it's very important to educate the girls in what we call an Islamic way. What the men often object to is that their girls are taught by men after puberty, that they have to walk long distances to school, that they don't have a secure environment and people can watch them while they're at school. But if you provide really secure environments and female teachers, then it's going to be very hard for the hardline people to close down those schools because the community buy into them, they want them to be there. We're only there at their request. And so I think as long as we are all very careful about how we provide the education, then it'll be much more likely to succeed.
And we talk about the schools and the number of schools that are being built, but of course a school doesn't mean bricks and mortar, does it? In a lot of places, a school is simply a gathering under a tree, which in inclement conditions is very, very difficult.
It is very difficult, but it is a beginning, and it's lovely to be able to build schools. But the most important thing is to have good teachers and to have parents that want to invest in the education.
What about the investment? I mean, the parents are having to pay, presumably, to go to some of these schools.
No, there's not investment in that way. What I mean is that when we go to these villages, the parents come to us asking us to build a school, and we ask them to give their time to help us build a school.
But that in a sense, why are they asking you? Why? I mean, billions and billions of dollars and pounds have been supposedly spent on reconstruction by American and British taxpayers and by Europeans as well. Why aren't there funds for that? Why does it have to be a charity?
I couldn't agree with you more. I go into these areas and I think, why is it our small organisation that's helping this region? It's just not filtering through. And in the really rural areas like where we're working, that aid is not reaching. Despite all the billions of money that's gone into Afghanistan, it hasn't filtered through.
Do you have any idea why? I mean, have you tried to take it up with DFID or whatever?
I just work very closely on the ground. I know how we work, I know how we can make it work, and it's not difficult. And I think that it's very easy to be transparent out there, and I hope that other people will work in the same way.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
A bit of breaking news that we've got, and that is that it's just been confirmed that the BBC's Director General, George Entwistle, will appear before the Culture Select Committee.